and welcome into another production of Citadel Greyline. This is our weekly get together where we talk about all things Citadel Bulldogs. John Rawl is my name, and for the next 30 minutes or so, we're going to look back at a great win for the Dogs as they went to Ladson and picked up a nice victory over Charleston Southern on Saturday, the first win in the Maurice Drayton era. Excited about that. We're going to break it all down. And as Andrew Miller of the Charleston Post-Courier is with us today, Thomas Scruggs as well. And we want to hear from you here on the Gray Line as we have this hour or so broadcast on Bulldog Sports. And we do this each and every week thanks in part to you, but also thanks to our great sponsors. And we got some dadgum new sponsors joining us here this week as we have the Senior Private Shop. We're going to tell you about them. Great job there by a Citadel alum putting out incredible merchandise, really customized stuff there. And Senior Private Shop is the new sponsor of Knob Knowledge. We also welcome back our friends from Franklin Plumbing and Cleaning Services. That's in the Columbia area. We're going to tell you more about what they do on this week's show, but also we're powered in part by IPS Packaging and Automation, as well as Hood Construction, the folks who help bring us Citadel Gray Line each and every week. Now to Andrew Miller. He's in our, I guess you could call it our Charleston Bureau, our whatever part of Charleston you're in, Andrew. How you doing, sir? Welcome into Citadel Gray Line.
Yeah, doing great. I actually live in Mount Pleasant, now actually near the Berkeley County border. If people are familiar with Charleston or Mount Pleasant, I live off of Highway 41 near Dunes West. So yeah, that's where I'm from. That's right.
I believe that also is AKA Cane Hoy.
Yes, just across the Wando River is Canehoy. That is correct.
All right, sorry, I wasn't all that familiar with the Wando, but yes, a nice area. And Andrew, glad to have you back here. You've got a sign in the background that says something about champions. And Andrew, we got a champion on the peninsula of Charleston, and it's not the Blackhawks; it's the Citadel Bulldogs, winners over Charleston Southern.
Yeah, great win. My first big takeaway from this game and this win is if there was any question about and I hate this word, or hate's a strong word. I dislike this word being used so much recently, and I think people have gotten away from it, but culture. If there was any doubt about the culture of the Citadel football team, the Citadel football program under Maurice Drayton, I think that question was answered in the third quarter of the game against Charleston Southern. They were down 21-3. A team that's 0-11 have lost, the previous 11 games, down by more than 2 touchdowns early in the third quarter. A team that didn't have character and pride in what they were doing, they would have folded. And this team didn't. They responded. And I thought really for the last the quarter and a half, just dominated the game really on both sides of the ball. So the culture, the players' togetherness, their chemistry as a team, I think that really came out in the third and the fourth quarter.
All right. Well, glad to hear about that. And we're going to get more of your input on this broadcast as we go forward, Andrew. Thomas Scruggs joining us here talking about culture. He knows a little bit about that subject. Thomas, how about them Dogs?
How about them Dogs, John? And to Andrew's point, it was great to see the locker room celebration. To see those guys, they really wanted to win that one for Maurice. It had been, 22 months since Citadel won a football game. And you can tell just how much those guys have bought in to that culture. So it's great to be sitting here after week 1-0.
Yes, it is. And a chance to win this weekend at home in the home opener as SC State is the opponent. If you'd like to get involved with the Citadel Gray Line program, we would love to have you as part of our fun here. A couple of ways to do that. You can email us, citadel@yall.com. Also, you are welcome to reach out to us on our text line, and that's 843-779-8496. 843-779-8496. No matter what side of the Wando you're on, or whatever side of the Congaree, or up in the upstate at the Saluda River, or anywhere in the South or America, we welcome you to reach out to us. We actually have a very nice message that's come in over the week on our text line that I'm going to get to in a second. But let's talk about this game against CSU, Andrew. This was a ball game. If you tuned in the third quarter, early fourth quarter, you kind of saw the score and said, oh my goodness, this is not looking very good. But the Dogs found a way to rally and get the big, big win, thanks in part to a missed field goal right there at the buzzer.
Yeah, no question about it. I didn't think they were really ever out of the game, and I know that sounds kind of weird, down 21-3. I just didn't feel like the Charleston Southern had dominated the line of scrimmage the way that you would think that if you were down by 18 points. So I thought even going in at halftime, I thought they were okay. Now Charleston Southern takes the second half kickoff. They drive right down the field. They score a touchdown. Then I probably wasn't feeling that good about the Citadel's chances of winning that game. But again, you go back and I go back to Jonathan Bennett, like how many plays did that guy make in that game that, either they picked up a third down, he didn't get sacked, he avoided, taking a negative play, or he just got rid of the ball, when the play wasn't there. And that's the difference between, having a quarterback that's experienced, that has played at a very high level, and that has won at a high level as well. And I thought he made some plays. Everybody made plays, but I just think he brings a calmness to this team that they did not have a year ago. He brings a leadership that they didn't have a year ago. I went to practice yesterday, and Jonathan Bennett walks into the stadium and he goes, not in our house, not in our house. And I was like, what is he talking about? And he's already talking to his teammates, about, hey, you can't come into the Johnson Hagood Stadium and beat us on our field. And he's talking about the SEC State game coming up this Saturday. And it's just a way that the guys rally around him. It's impressive. It really is. I mean, he's, as Maurice Drayton loves to say, he is a full-grown man, and I thought that was on display Saturday night up at Buccaneer Field.
Yes, it was a very good performance by him. But as Coach Drayton pointed out in his Monday presser, some really good redshirt sophomores, redshirt freshmen, I guess is actually what they are this year, making some key plays in this game. One of them even was able to run out there and mess with that attempted field goal.
Yeah, Bradley. The cornerback came off the corner and did get a touch, or did get a fingertip or a couple of fingers on that blocked field goal. And it was blocked, because if you watch the film, you can see that the ball's trajectory takes a little bit of a turn right as it comes off his foot.
And Bradley from Greenwood, South Carolina. Glad to see a Greenwood guy getting down to Charleston and attending the Citadel. But he wasn't the only redshirt freshman getting a chance. I'm not sure how much playing time they had last year, but I think they got a little bit, because Drayton even pointed that out in his presser, how those guys, even in an 0-11 season, that playing time helping to make a big difference here in 2024. Thomas, other thoughts you have on this one?
Well, John, to come from behind, like Andrew was talking about, you haven't won a game, in over a year. You're down 21-3. We're all thinking, well, here we go again, And just the way, it was so impressive the way they came back in this game. And really, if you go back and look at, we're down 14-3 in the first half, but those were big plays. We gave up some big plays, big chunk yardage. But then it's like they came out from the locker room and they settled down. Key turnover there late in the fourth quarter. Just really gutsy win from the Citadel. And Andrew's been telling us all season about Mr. Bennett, and I'm a believer. I didn't necessarily believe him before, but after seeing that game, yeah, absolutely, I'm on the Bennett train right now.
Wow, Bennett for Heisman, is that what I'm gathering?
Possibly a Heisman Kennedy Trophy on the Ashley River.
Oh man, it's about time. Thomas, good point there. And now we got you a believer. You might want to believe whatever Andrew's saying. By the way, y'all can believe Andrew, because you can find Andrew at APMiller_PNC is how you can find him on X, and also get his fine reading each and every day at the postandcourier.com is how you can get out in touch with Andrew. Andrew, you've been following Coach Drayton now since he took over. Tell me about what this meant personally for him to get this big victory. Because he mentioned you, I believe, in the press conference that you were there talking to him Saturday after the game.
Yeah, and he did not address the media after the game, which I thought was a little bit unusual. He realizes that was a mistake, that he should have come out and talked to the media afterwards. But I did talk to him on the phone after the game. He was he really was more excited for the players and for the fans and for the coaching staff than he was for himself. And I loved his answer. He said, we expect to win. I expect to win every time I come onto the field. So, I want to act like I've been there before, because he has been there before. He has been on with winning programs and winning teams. So I thought that response was great. Like, hey, this isn't about me. This is about the players. This is about the fans. And making them feel happy and excited. And that's the first thing Jonathan Bennett said after the game. He's like, I'm glad we won. I'm glad that that we were able to come out here and win. But he was so happy for those upperclassmen, those guys who have been here, the Cooper Wallaces, the Tyler Cherries, those guys who've been around, the Thomas Wyatt. He was happy. He was more happy for those guys than he was for himself and for the way they performed. And again, that just shows his leadership. That shows his maturity. A couple of the things I wanted to mention here. One thing that I saw from the Citadel that I had not seen, I don't know that I've ever seen this, the way that they rotated their offensive linemen during the game. And there's about 8 guys on that offensive line that played a significant amount of snaps, where they were rotating guys in from the tackle position, from the guard position. I think the center stayed the same pretty much the entire game. But at the guard and tackle positions, it was almost like they were rotating guys in like you would for a defensive lineman. And the defensive line, that's another point I want to make here in a second too. But the way that most colleges, most teams rotate their defensive linemen, they'll play 4 or 5 plays. Then you bring in a whole new defensive line. And those guys will play 4 or 5 plays. So the idea is to keep them fresh. And the Citadel was doing that on the offensive line against Charleston Southern. They had, like I said, they had 8 guys. They're rotating in and out. They keep them fresh. And then if one of those guys ends up getting hurt later on in the season, then you've got 2 or 3 other guys who've played a significant amount of snaps in real game time situations, not in mop-up situations, not in the fourth quarter when you're down big or you're up big. These guys have actually gotten game experience, when the game is still on the line. And that's one of the things that I noticed. And the other thing I noticed was the depth on the defensive line, that when the backups came in, there wasn't that much of a drop-off like there has been in the last couple of years that I've been watching the Citadel. So both sides of the line of scrimmage got depth, and that's a huge key, I think, for the Citadel moving forward.
Well, that is a big part maybe of why they had the gas left in the tank there as the clock came down on the fourth quarter in North Charleston this past weekend. Hey, let me tell you about a great partner of the Citadel Gray Line, and that's Hood Construction. They've been building it the right way for 38 years, and Hood Construction is a full-service construction company with 30 years plus of serving clients throughout the South Carolina, North Carolina, and Georgia area. They take a very holistic approach to our clients' businesses and the project objectives in order to find the best value solution. Yeah, that's right. Even Andrew's dog is excited about Hood Construction. So check it out. Go to their website. Yeah, that's all right. HoodConstruction.com is the website for you to go find out about how this Citadel, I guess you could call it Citadel-led company, can help build something for you or your business the right way. HoodConstruction.com is the tele. Give them a call, y'all. All right, so let's go back to the defensive side of this ball game, Andrew. As the Citadel in the game against Charleston Southern, they still had to come up with a stop, and the stops needed to pull out the victory.
For the record, that is not my dog. That is my daughter's dog. Just so I don't want my dog is a great dog. I'm just kidding. Don't want my daughter to see this. Defensively, obviously the strip sack there in the right after they'd given up the fumble, that was a huge play for the Citadel. Probably really secured the victory or allowed them to go in and get the game-winning score there. Huge game. I thought the second half they did a really good job of not allowing those big chunk plays that Tommy rightfully pointed out that they had given up in the first half. They made Charleston Southern kind of earn it. And I tell you what, that quarterback that they got there, Rob McCoy, I thought he was legit. He was a very good quarterback for Charleston Southern. Could beat you with his feet. Had a really good arm. they just played a much more disciplined brand of football. I thought that we saw a little bit last year, and that we saw from the second half to the first half. I just thought they were a little bit more disciplined. They were really good with their reads and their keys, and didn't allow these big chunk plays. Besides really the first drive of the third quarter. After that, if you look at what Charleston Southern did, they didn't do very much. They'd only picked up a couple of first downs after that initial first drive. The rest of the entire second half. So great job there by defensive coordinator Raleigh Jackson, who at times last year, even as bad as they played, sometimes I could see where his scheme and he had put guys in position to make plays. They didn't make the plays last year. This year, or at least for the first game, they're making those plays. They're making those tackles, those stops in space, which is obviously crucial when you're playing a team that spreads the ball around and runs the option like Charleston Southern did.
A big win for the Dogs. And if we go back to last week's show, which we encourage all of you to do if you didn't see our debut for 2024 last week, we projected wins for this 2024 Bulldog football team. And I'm pretty darn sure if you go back and look at the film, Andrew and Thomas both said that Citadel would win somewhere between 4 and 5 games. Neither one of you were high on the Citadel winning against CSU. Am I right on that?
I don't recall that, John. I'd have to go back and watch the tape of that show. But no, I think we both said it would be a challenge.
Okay.
I don't think either one of us said we were going to lose. I believe what we said, we would expect to be at least 2-1 coming out of the first 3 games.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, again, those
so
three...
Andrew, quick question, Andrew. One comment I kept seeing over and over Saturday night was that Charleston Southern seemed to be really gassed in the late third quarter, fourth quarter, hands on hips. Looks like our guys just got stronger as the game went on, which speaks to our conditioning program, which, at the Citadel, the elite college in the country, we should never run out of gas before our...
No, I totally agree. I thought the Citadel wore them down as the second half went on. And you could see, and again, I talked about the depth on the offensive line, the depth on the defensive line. Huge, crucial, those two positions because they controlled the line of scrimmage. And then you look at 4 or 5 different running backs got in the game and carried the ball, had a lot of wide receivers out there. And he was able to rotate some of the guys also in the defensive secondary. And one guy that kind of stood out to me a little bit, especially in the second half, was Mikey Rosa, a guy that from Wando High School here in Charleston. He made a couple of big hits. The light has kind of come on, I think, for Mikey. And again, he was the Shrine Bowl MVP of the South Carolina team in that All-Star game. So, he had all the kind of credentials coming out of high school last year. He was a little bit lost. The game was really too fast for him a year ago, and obviously the sad passing of his father probably had a lot to do with where he was mentally. But this year, he just seems like a totally different person, totally different kid. He just seems locked in and focused, and I thought he was really impressive on Saturday when he got his opportunities there, especially in the second half.
And that's General John Rosa's grandson, right?
That is correct.
Okay. Wow. Pretty neat connection. Of course, his granddaddy, I know, played quarterback for the Citadel in the early 70s. I'm not sure about his late father, if he even went to the Citadel. I know one of Rosa's kids did. But anyway, great performance by him and others. And you know what, guys? As Maurice Drayton mentioned earlier this week, to celebrate the big victory, they pulled off of I-26 and went to some ice cream place. Now, can you imagine an ice cream place in Charleston getting 100 starving cadet football players coming in the building at 11 o'clock at night? Well, evidently that happened, Andrew.
Yeah, it did. And one of the things he talked about was that he knew that if his players, obviously the nightlife down on King Street on a Saturday night in Charleston can get, how can I put this politely, a little dicey if you're a young man in your 20s. So what he did is they pulled over, they went to an ice cream shop because he knew that they were there instead of being down on King Street celebrating the win. So a veteran move there from Maurice Drayton to make sure his guys stay in line.
I didn't know ice cream shops were open.
Big John.
Yeah, I didn't know ice cream shops were open that late, but we got some good ones in the Charleston area. That's pretty neat story. And maybe many of you out there watching celebrated with something besides ice cream. I know, oddly enough, with the start of football season, for many people, it's a very glorious, glorious thing when that Labor Day weekend rolls around and football starts. And I actually got invited to one heck of a watch party for this game. And the folks that put this on made incredible both dry and wet ribs. And we had a couple of nice drinks to choose from. But we had the Citadel game up and going to watch it. And the friends that invited me over were Texas Tech alumni. And I'm not kidding. I believe the Citadel Charleston Southern and the Texas Tech Abilene Christian games were the best games in all of college football this past weekend. If you didn't follow that Texas Tech game, Abilene Christian absolutely could have won that game. They went for 2 in overtime. It didn't work out. But a great FCS opponent there almost pulled off the upset in Lubbock. And then the Citadel Charleston Southern was so dramatic the way that one wrapped up. So nice Saturday night programming for me at least, and the ribs weren't too bad either. Thomas, I won't get into what you did to celebrate.
Thank you.
Okay. But I'll tell you what you might want to do, Thomas, because one way you could celebrate, and I highly recommend this, is to check out Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning, they were on with us last year, and now they're back. And they're a great team of plumbers offering full-service plumbing, gas, drain, and sewer services in the Columbia area. They've got 24-hour emergency service available. And you know what? If you go to their website, franklinplumbing.sc.com right now, you can see that you can get Thomas, this is perfect for you to celebrate the big win. You can get $250 off a sewer replacement. Call them up at 803-281-2974. Citadel-led Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning with great service Monday through Thursday. They're available at those times, and then they got a 24-hour emergency number. As the phone number there says, give them a call, 803-281-2974. FranklinPlumbingSC.com is the website. Well, howdy do. Thank you, Franklin Plumbing, for coming back on Citadel Grayline for year 2024 of Citadel Football Talk. All right, gentlemen, great win, but you got to put it in the rearview mirror because a formidable opponent comes into Johnson Hagood this weekend. It's an opponent that really embarrassed the Citadel last year in Orangeburg. It's the South Carolina State Bulldogs and the Lowcountry Bulldog Bash, I think it's what it's called, and a trophy is actually on the line for this game. What do we know about the newly coached SC State Bulldogs? Is their old coach the new coach comes over from Benedict in Columbia to take over the Dogs of Orangeburg, at least?
Yeah, well, Coach Barry comes over from Benedict College. They were 27-7 in his 3 years there, 22-2, I believe, in their last 2 years. Made to the Division II playoffs. Went undefeated regular season last year. Comes in with a lot of credentials from the Division II level, and they got beat by Florida A&M on Saturday, which is probably the best team in the MEAC. Certainly, I think one of the favorites to win the regular season this year. Went down there to Tallahassee, lost by 4 points on their field, so that's a pretty impressive. Even though it was a loss, just to kind of hang in there in their first game. They got a really good quarterback named Eric Phoenix. He played at Benedict with Coach Barry and then went to Murray State last year. Now he's back at SC State with Coach Barry and didn't have a huge game, completely less than 50% of his passes, 130 yards, kind of an up and down. I watched most of that game on a replay when I got back from the Citadel game on Saturday night. So, it's going to be a challenge for the Citadel. They're a team that likes to throw the ball a lot. Again, the depth on the defensive line for I think the Citadel will come into play here. And I think kind of the formula that they used against Charleston Southern, they're going to probably use against SC State. They're going to try to run the ball, kind of wear down that defense. And then Jonathan Bennett's going to hopefully make a couple of chunk plays, and that'll be enough for them to win. But again, you're right. A year ago, they embarrassed the Citadel up in Orangeburg. Dustin Fletcher got hurt early in that game. Got a concussion. He was out the rest of the season. So there's going to be some revenge there. But I think this is a team, the Citadel team, that's playing with a lot of confidence right now after what happened on Saturday night.
Yes, and I think it's the first game this weekend. It's a big weekend on campus. It's going to be the Hall of Fame weekend, and a lot of people will be at an event, I think, at the Marriott in Charleston. It's actually away from the Alumni Center because I think the size of it was so big. They moved it for that reason, I think. And it's just a big, big opportunity for Citadel alumni and fans and parents and all to come support the Citadel Bulldogs this weekend as it's the home opener. It's a big game for Maurice Drayton. His family is mostly SC State. Even last year, he admitted that his mother at the game in Orangeburg had an SC State shirt on, but a Citadel cap on. It's house divided in the Drayton household.
Yeah, he was telling us that I guess 9 out of his 10 aunts and uncles went to SC State, or just the majority of his family. That's where they went. And obviously, Coach Drayton coached there under Buddy Pugh for a while. So, I mean, he has a lot of very strong ties to SC State. And I think, to me, this is just a natural rivalry between the two schools. I'm glad that the Citadel's playing Charleston Southern and they're playing SC State because I think those games are great rivalries. But you're right, it's kind of a house divided. I wanted to find out where she sits so we could take a photo of her during the game on Saturday because I'd love to see her in that kind of outfit. But yeah, they were not real pleased. I mean, she was not real. He was telling us that she might not be real pleased if they end up winning on Saturday, but he said that she'd have to just live with that. So I thought that was great.
Yeah. Mom, come on now. You got to pull for your son
Right.
here in this case. Let me tell you, fellas, about another great partner that we've just come up with here on Citadel Gray Line. And, we do this thing called Knob Knowledge on a regular basis. And what we've decided to do is bring on a sponsor for Knob Knowledge. And what we've done is we partnered up with the Senior Private Shop. Senior Private Shop is on Etsy, etsy.com/shop/senior private. They do a great job with really cool Citadel merchandise. Much of it is officially licensed, but you can go to that Etsy.com shop at Senior Private and check out all the great merchandise that they offer. And I've seen this on social media for quite some time, all the various things that they offer to Citadel fans and alumni, and I must say I am impressed. So Senior Private Shop is our new sponsor of Knob Knowledge. And here we go with the Knob Knowledge question, and then while we ruminate on the question, I'll show off some really cool merch from Senior Private Shop for you. So here's our Senior Private Shop Knob Knowledge question for this week. This past Sunday was the 34th anniversary of the original publication of Pat Conroy's The Lords of Discipline. The class of 1967 graduate of the Citadel wrote 12 books that sold an estimated 20 million copies worldwide, but Pat Conroy is not the graduate who can claim the title of author with the most copies of books sold. Say what? Who is? That is the Knob Knowledge question. What Citadel alum has sold more than the millions of books that Pat Conroy sold in his lifetime? Tell us which Citadel alum is the most successful selling author of books, and you will get a nice prize pack from Senior Private Shop. And that prize pack includes a Lords of Discipline shirt, a Lords of Discipline sticker, and a patch. And drum roll, please, I've got goodies to show off here thanks to Senior Private Shop. Here is that Lords of Discipline patch. It's pretty neat. I'll put it up here. You get that. And it's got the Velcro, or hook and loop is the technical name, on the back. You can put that on maybe your, Thomas, you can put that on your biker jacket.
Yeah, okay.
When you go down to Pillion, you can drive that around Pillion in your biker jacket. And I got family from there, so hold off on all the hate mail. Here's a Lords of Discipline sticker. Andrew, that'd look really good on your Tesla right there. Your Tesla truck, whatever those things are called.
I drive a Lexus. Okay, come on.
Oh, okay, sorry. What are those Tesla trucks called?
Oh, those silver ones. I don't know. I do not know what they're
You
called.
need one because I heard they're bulletproof.
Yeah,
Here's a Lords of Discipline sticker, and just I brought this in too. We're going to show off some senior private shop goodies as we go forward. I love these stickers. I had to bring these in. These are Citadel Old Core stickers that'll look good on your pickup truck or your side by side or right on your laptop or whatever you've got. Some really neat goodies that you can find. But that Lords of Discipline stuff will be coming your way if you're the lucky answer of this week's Knob Knowledge question. And while I've got it here, here's a neat shirt that Senior Private sent me. The Citadel, I don't know why they sent this to me, Thomas. I mean, I'm not part of the old Corps, right?
Absolutely not.
And there's the back. So really great quality, officially licensed goodies from Senior Private Shop. And I appreciate the shirt. I will model it sometime. Right now, I got too much of a gut to model it today. But thank you again. The non-knowledge question, what Citadel alum is considered to be the most successful selling author? And if you send us the answer there to the number 843-779-8496, 843-779-8496, you'll be the winner of Senior Private Shop, and they'll get out the goodies to you in the mail. Speaking of our mailbag, y'all, let me tell you about a really nice message that we received over the last weekend. Andrew and Thomas, hopefully y'all can handle praise because we got a little bit of praise coming our way. Very nice message from Ross Brown. Ross reached out to us on our Facebook site, Citadel Greyline on Facebook. Can't wait for your show. You guys are the best. Sincerely, Ross Brown. So, Ross, thank you very much. Is that a family member of yours, Thomas?
No, I did not pay Mr. Brown either, if you were going to ask.
Okay. And
we appreciate the compliment.
And our official hazer of the show. You know, every program needs somebody who knows about how to haze. Well, our official hazer on Citadel Greyline is Hayes Lothian. And Hayes has chimed in already and said, great win. Some freshmen stood out on Saturday. And also Hayes points out that, and real food in the stew pot, which I was impressed by that after the game. That I guess that was real corn and shrimp and more there in the Lowcountry Boil Bowl award trophy. And then Hayes points also out that Citadel soccer is now 4-0-1, the best start in school history. So, Andrew, I'll let you boil up whatever you've got in response to Hayes there.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think every team this weekend won. And then the volleyball team, I'm getting ready to write a story about that for tomorrow. The volleyball team goes and plays Nebraska, which would have been the number one ranked team in the nation, but they lost. Nebraska lost to SMU last night. But still, a top 5 opponent, a team that annually draws about 12,000 people to their games. So it should be a big game, big match here for the Citadel coming up. I also do know, I think I know the answer to the knob knowledge question.
Well, you can't answer it. Zip it.
I was going to say, can I guess the pen? You have to guess the pen name or what his actual real name was.
Andrew, I'm going to have to mute your mic. Yeah. No comment.
And the only reason I know that is the individual who I think is the person I actually was in the store, not reading, just kind of browsing through the book, and he came up right behind me and started talking to me about what a great book that was. And then I realized who it was. It was really funny.
Could be.
Yeah. This is obviously many years ago.
Yeah. Danielle Steele did not go to the Citadel. I'm sorry about that. But oddly enough, I don't know where you were shopping for books, but we better hush. I want somebody to win this darn thing because we want to celebrate this. Andrew, final thoughts on SC State because we got to get out of here a little early today.
Yeah, again, the formula that worked to get, well, you don't want to obviously get behind 21-3, but what the Citadel did in the second half is, I think, more indicative of what we're going to see, hopefully, the rest of the season. And I think that kind of formula is really going to play to the strengths of the Citadel. The other thing that I think, and I wrote about it in Tuesday's newspaper in the print edition, was they did not have any communication from the press box to the coaching staff because their headsets didn't work and their walkie-talkies wouldn't work. And it was really strange to see, excuse me, after the first possession that Charleston Southern had, I watched as three Citadel assistant coaches ran down from the press box to the sideline in the first half because their communication wasn't working. So they were kind of coaching old school, where right from the field, just the field level, they didn't have that bird's eye view. And that was, again, very impressive. The adjustments that the Citadel made at halftime, that shows that they're good coaching staff. They're able to adapt and willing to adapt to circumstances as they see them. And again, I just think that goes back to the culture and the chemistry that this team and this coaching staff has.
Andrew, quick question. I heard Maurice Drayton say earlier this week that most of our opponents have iPads on the sidelines, but we don't have iPads for some reason.
Yes, and now I think that has to be both sides. Both teams have to say it's okay to use iPads. I don't think one team can have an iPad, the other team can't. I think now I'm going to, but that is a story that's going to be coming up hopefully next week or the week after. It's $25,000 to have to kind of invest in that kind of system where you have iPads, where you can have communication between the offensive coordinator, head coach, and with the helmets inside the quarterback's helmet. And I think it's an issue of money right now, and that's why they don't have it. Which, if you think about it, is just outrageous, because I go to high school football games and I see high school football teams that have these big, giant plasma screen TVs on the sidelines, and they have iPads on the sideline. So it's not like, if your local high school can afford that, by gosh, the Citadel football team should be able to afford that.
That is absolutely ridiculous. We just hired an NFL coach to come home, and we can't afford $25,000 to provide them with the equipment that all of our opponents are utilizing. That's outrageous. Somebody needs to start a fundraising campaign or something to get this coaching staff the tools they need.
Yeah.
Also, this year there's a new rule change where you can have communication with the quarterback through the helmet, or the team captain. Does the Citadel have that?
No, they don't have that either. But again, that goes back to the cost of what iPads would cost, and then
I'm going to hide
that technical equipment.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. I mean, I 100% agree with you. I don't understand why you can't have that stuff. Again, I see it all the time in high school football games, and you're telling me that Somerville High School has more money than the Citadel does? That doesn't make any sense. Well, Somerville might be a bad example. They take football pretty seriously up there. So yeah, but I mean, I even see little small schools. I've seen Baptist Hill using TVs and stuff like that. So it makes absolutely zero sense to me. Now, before it was illegal, you couldn't do it at the FCS level. You couldn't have that kind of technology. But now you can have that kind of technology. And then I need to do a little more reporting on this to find out if it's both teams have to agree upon it or what.
Well, I'll just go out and say this, John. I don't want to end on a negative note, but it sounds like leadership in the athletic department needs to give Coach Drayton the tools he needs to succeed. That's the bottom line.
Agreed.
I'm tired of excuses. I'm tired of fundraising and all this.
Gentlemen, we are going to basically call it quits before we get out of here. I'm going to tell everybody about IPS packaging and automation. But Andrew, Thomas, thank you both for your contributions this week, and we will be back on here next week to recap what we hope is victory number 2 on the Bulldogs' schedule. You boys have a great week and weekend.
See you, John.
All right.
See you, John.
Thank you very much. Now, before we get out of here, I got to tell y'all about IPS packaging and automation. Did y'all realize that IPS packaging and automation has been cheering for the Bulldogs and helping out Bulldog fans with their great business for many, many years. They're a family-owned and operated powerhouse. It's been a titan in the packaging industry since 1976. Clocking over 4 decades in the game, IPS Packaging and Automation stands tall as a leader in packaging products, automation equipment, and top-notch service. IPS Packaging and Automation, a crucial role that they play in packaging processes of countless businesses and manufacturing facilities in the entire country. And they've been a proud sponsor of Citadel Athletics for more than a decade. Discover what IPS Packaging and Automation can do for you. Go to their website, ipack.com, or call them 800-277-7007, 800-277-7007. IPS Packaging and Automation is a proud supporter of Citadel Athletics. We appreciate all of you for being a part of our program. Again, you can email us throughout the week, citadel@yall.com. That's the way to get in touch with us. Remember, Andrew on X is at @APMiller_P&C. And you can always text us here throughout the week or during the show, 843-779-8496. Thank y'all for being a part of the fun. We will see you back here next week. And fall out.